Santana are an American band formed and led by electric guitarist Carlos Santana. They were originally formed in 1966 as the Santana Blues Band. They shortened their name in 1967 to just Santana. They encompassed blues rock, psychedelic rock, jazz rock fusion, and other styles, but heavily tinged with Latin flavours, which particularly manifested in the presence of several percussionists. One of the best-selling groups of all time. The peak popularity came in the late 60s, early 70s, and then again in 1998 when the album Supernatural was released and became a huge seller. They've had, as a band, a lot of changeover of members, Carlos being the only constant, and they have released 29 albums so far, the first in 1969 and the most recent, as I record this, in 2025. Hi, my name's Dan, and this is a review of the album Caravanserai by the band Santana, which was released in 1972 and was their fourth studio album. It's not my first encounter with it, it's actually my second time reviewing it. So very fast bit of history. I've been doing these video reviews now for, what is it, nearly 4 years. Before that, I had a blog and I was reviewing on that, which had a readership of about 5 to 10. And before that, how I got into reviews was I reviewed a whole load of prog albums. But that included this album, although at the time, and I probably still claim that it's not prog. It's just that some people have got it on the lists of best prog albums ever. So I still want to claim it's not prog. I would claim that this is Latin jazz rock fusion. So breaking that down, I would say it's jazz rock, which is this kind of thing that was brought into being by several people. Miles Davis is one of them, and a whole lot of people like Herbie Hancock and Chick Corea and others. So it's got a lot of similarities to that, but it's also got a Latin flavour, a strong Latin flavour to it at times. It's mostly instrumental. There's 3 songs out of the 10 tracks. So we've got quite a standard band, plus organ and electric piano, still fairly standard, plus 2 or 3 percussionists, and plus at one point some orchestral strings as well. Most of it is quite kind of meandering in feel. It's not slow, but it's quite relaxed, and it's got scripted sessions which are interspersed with jam sessions. So there's rhythms, and percussion is probably the main thing that gives it the Latin feel, and some of that is very nice. Particularly I like the bits where they just get lots of percussion going. And have a groove that is a very full groove. It's my kind of exposure to Latin stuff has been through reviewing this list. Let's just quickly explain that. I'm reviewing my way through from number 3000 to number 1 of the 3000 greatest albums of all time, according to a list created by some great folk at Acclaimed Music, which is an amalgamated critics list. And one of the joys that I've had in doing this is being exposed to a whole load of music that I've not listened to before. And one of those areas is Brazilian music and bossa nova, especially, which I've really enjoyed. So my comparison now here as Latin stuff is to that Brazilian stuff, and it's got more urgency than the very laid-back Brazilian stuff. One track, in fact, on here is a Carlos Jobim track, or Jobim, I never know how to pronounce that, adapted with English words. That's Stoneflower. Okay. The main jazz element, I would say, is in the soloing, especially in the kind of jam passages. So that's often quite jazzy in nature. As I was writing this note, there was one of the tracks was on and some electric piano was playing, and I was thinking that's very jazz, that kind of stuff. There is also kind of flavors, just a little bit of a hint of psychedelicness to it. And I think that that comes through mostly in the singing, which is kind of, it's got a kind of hey man kind of feel to the singing, and understated. And other than that, I can't really put my finger on why this word psychedelic comes to mind in here. Maybe also occasional bits of less traditional sounds and musical approaches, a little bit more unusual occasionally. Um, so I've talked about jazz, I've talked about psychedelic, I've talked about Latin. What about rock? Well, yes, I think the whole thing is in kind of broadly in the framework of rock. Some of the rhythms are fairly rock. The electric guitarness of it, the fact that it's a band is an electric band, that kind of makes it feel more rock. There's quite an emphasis on the electric guitar because that is Carlos, and his soloing. Some of it is really nice. So the end result is quite a melting pot of lots of other stuff. The musicianship is impressive. And I would say I think it often is in stuff that's labelled jazz rock. And the end result is often, so I've said it's kind of relaxed, but sometimes it's got this kind of relaxed but kind of urgent, and it's moving on, but it's not aggressive with that. So it's just got a kind of, yeah, it goes. I haven't done very well describing that, have I? Did I like it? Yes, it's pleasant. It's musically fairly engaging. I found it quite a bit. I would say in the right mood, I'd either have it on as background music for when I'm working, or it's good driving music, or it's good music that you could put on a pair of headphones, lie on bed, and switch off the lights in the dark and listen to it and just get totally lost in it. Um, However, I would say there'd be other moods or other times when it would come on and it would pass me by. It doesn't grab your attention as much as some music does, but when you do listen to it, I think it rewards that. So anyway, that's what I think. I'd love to know what you think of this album of Santana. Whether you think I've got this idea about where it sits in this jazz rock Latin fusion thing, if you think I'm getting that right, or you want to disagree with me, I'm always happy for people to disagree with me. Basically, I'm just trying to get you to talk to me. And you can do that through the comments. But that's it from me for now.